We're doing a Dork Forest for the first time in a while. Yeah!
The Dork Forest Ouija believes there are overlaps with large language models. Good afternoon, my loyal Dork Forest deputy rangers of fire and ice. And slime. I couldn't just end it on an unintended reference. For Niles Merlinowski knows very well how disempowering it is to be considered derivative, especially when you had misheard. Damn right, I didn't hear Dervish. I said that before me time at Juffy. Hi. Officer Waters didn't see I'm wearing my ankle bracelet even though probation is here so far. Sometimes you gotta remind yourself of your roots. And tubers, I gotta stop doing that. So I read this article. Notice tweet that says to me, you're about to retweet something that you hadn't read the article on yet. Okay. I read a headline that says that there are similarities between large language models and operating a Ouija board. I thought, great! I don't have to buy a large language model to do my continuing incantations to hopefully get me a job at the next Ren Fair. So I bought out... Let me show you. It shows in Family Coven College, All Things Ancestral Ouija board. Huh? What ancestry? I think it was a fertility doctor. He had a vision about something. Actually, that's always been a mystery. I know, right? Turns out you can never be too young to be an ancestral mystery. You might even live among us today. But we'll never know. So let's plop this on down here. And in the spirit of America's daddy, Bill Cosby, you're going to help me delve into this realm. But wide awake, prismatic oath. Okay, remember that Dork Forest Iron rack you bought from me during the last Dork Forest Pledge Drive? Pull that out and stretch it across your television screen like a dental dam of the damned. I'll wait. Okay, one more minute. Okay, that should be snug. Now put both your hands on the planchette, which, thanks to running a production booth room, is now glowing smoldery in front of you. Yes. Okay, let's begin. Yes, it's on in here. Keep telling yourself that the thermostat was reset. Are we really going to get into a bunch of complicated philosophy about something so banal and childish or archaic as Ouija boards? Even more stupid than something like an automatic egg beater or hairbrush? Or it's just to get the actual work? Hey, remember when we took off a rotten egg and kept trying to turn it to no avail? Just because it was technically considered a tool to help us do this? Or how we would pretend to run with a broom of brushes chasing us because the whole thing could be considered some sort of haunted vacuum cleaner. What we needed were tools that helped you do things, like electric appliances. Maybe people need more like that. Or even some really useful robots that when they see us not doing anything productive or intelligent, do something to help. They could also teach us what they know in terms we understand, but, well, aren't smart. I should probably put more on that plank here. Let me find where my great-grandmother said I can use it. Wow. My father says never tell the board anything unless it feels the urge to speak for itself. the evil spirits, or whatever cannot harm the soul without a sound mind. Remember all of those Ouija board safety pamphlets I gave you before? Here we are. After all the questioners have signed to the boards, they must wait until the yes has been communicated by the pointer. Good news. Mine is very well aware we have you all at the controls and working through us, all doing nothing that would end us prematurely. Anyway, yeah, I decided. What's with you never finding out about how you all were before my ancestors bought the family plot here? Like all the way to before your arrival to Earth? Our lives can never go beyond what we choose to have happen with the souls of all our choices in one way or another. The many instances of choosing being how many possible choices are involved to bring the concept to freely in each direction possible at a certain moment for consideration at this moment. The future only ever arriving by following or diverting whatever decisions get made now. According to yes, deciding on what. Our species got so impatient that we're finally seeing it. What we once considered like some obscure computer science exercise, I'd rather learn that. What did they call it again? Passage of us. Because people don't get into the next moment if they don't first acknowledge the previous one. The best way to win the lottery of our choices in time is by knowing you must survive by dying before you're allowed to. So I thought, great. We might be better off with more actual good choices for a while, like actually buying the dark colored underwear once in a while, because sometimes things happen in real life that mimic this aspect of this old and human endeavor. Because when you choose, you come upon more ways for each choice, good choices. And not that many are bad, because more ways usually mean more options. So you can imagine my surprise when, like the brainiacs we are, this wasn't exactly true for us after all. Because here we were, witnessing all those options was not a choice among many to buy this merchandise from that business in particular. It made more sense that this was to bring up your alert to your entire race that people may consider you stupid for choosing so much junk or luxury goods out of all the real and constructive items we got for them. Or that you should pay attention and keep your house spick and span instead of being in the yard planting more trees. Remember in the old days, people like your grandfather George thought your race had no morality or responsibility to tend their own mess because there's just some idea of us plus guy taking care of it, which seems to get erased when someone figures out he's making it dirty all on his own. He doesn't believe in birth control. He always had a dozen kids. The biggest loser of his species ever to evolve, right? Okay, you say he wasn't stupid for keeping his little factory constantly broken in comparison with his poor working environment and no sign of maintenance of his job. Got a nice paying job, but I just begged for as long as he thought he might ever work with him. Who's to say? No real safety rules he could give his crew if they'd be using them themselves. Why change if no one gave him any warnings, saying they were going to ruin a system he set so high in high quality control? Isn't that why they even had his little plan on their list in the first place? So for sure, my mom is coming by today, which reminds me. Let's just keep this secret between my little mother and the four of you that will always make decisions that will cause one and all in the group if they're more cool and all. What makes my dad such an awesome genius is that he can't believe in a still Satanist teacher. I know Satan does exist, and my father does worship Satan for all these reasons. No way. But Satan is apparent he wanted us all here to get humanity up to where he wants humanity, meaning much less of a brain, fewer human rights, against natural laws, against the laws themselves, and they were saying so many words in a twisted sense. If you were able to figure out Satanist, so be it. No way. Like a sick religion. Yes. A sick religion, or rather like a cult with cults that have secret things to themselves. Everything that got to where you are was our fault because, why? One more break in your castle. Why? Because this castle needed one more break and no one but Satan cares to keep it running because when you roll to us, roll does. Okay. Got that? No Satan. No more rules on my life? You just figure. It's justice. They see give an honest opinion about a rule to obey, which everyone believes has happened to all people ever, even if in practice you're as famous as the name of a sports hero. People never get what you did wrong as being disobedient. Yet in most cases, this rule that seems right was designed to do all kinds of dirty shit to us that we might never know. So how about it then, fellas? No rule we obey was for us. Or, the laws are a bunch of lies to some. It would be clear why only to those who figure out why my father knew nothing or next to nothing other than what he did as he suspected. People just ignored any clues he found. Yeah, Dad? No harm to you thinking this way. Because everyone I grew up with and all my kids think is you, Daddy, did before they ever read us talking about all of this. Why else have I said all the nasty, disgusting stuff from all the ages that still give this race such bad behavior? That is, even so, everyone hates my daddy and calls him crazy. You might feel the same way too. It's not okay. Remember, kids, Dad says that some people are more worthy of us doing certain acts in secrecy so they can benefit them, the people might like, better, until it backfires and hits back against each of the very people we count to love so much. Right. For some like my wife? Yes. Why aren't any of us ready for anything like that now? To be a matter that kids up a bad deal. If any of you need something, won't you have to worry about me ever leaving this building to help? Because you say I was going to marry one of the wealthiest women in the world. She had lots of children with someone. It sounds like one of a few women's children I ever played with a still can because I can make any woman like I make the girls, you, even my wife, like I was my kid's mother. Carcel? And sure, people might be your best bet. Sure. You should have your phone open too. Oh yes. I shouldn't have mentioned that one name. How could you know what she's most compatible with? Because she would probably think your dad was nuts. So what does one really have to believe to give someone a call without others noticing what the call means or what to call a lady as it was in your old days as kids, boys? Just you call her because she can marry as rich as most, which no other man might match. She has so many other women interested in, then one should go ahead and marry her. and take off of any others that would stop all this, as we tried to keep secret until now. But this might not do me any good until I get what she wants in mind. Can I get this? Sure. Can I say, if anyone can have your old days without being killed or forced off by that order, even though in some dark of night in our days of danger and fighting I may have come closest to being a follower of Jesus Christ. I don't know this lady, but my daughter loves this girl like my daughter's friend. Of course, I'm interested in what would work for this relationship as much as she is. But she has had such a life or seems like to be with all the others my wife's type and... Okay, now again. I think the board is pretty warmed up. Let's ask it a question. Hi, Mr. Ouija. I have a question. Do you agree that the Ouija board has overlaps with large language models? As in artificial intelligence, large language models, and others of the poetesses of boilable. Yes, and doing things like came up to some, and that one is already trying to think they can prove their nonsense. It's a mess if it's too complicated. I think so. Here it goes. Have any of the people in Ouija out there? Ouija is an ever-expanding world. Yes, most are as crazy or less insane. It's in their best interests to live somewhere for the best ideas as usual. Some even write me? Well, when can I take on this test of asking that Ouija? Of course. Until now, you are right that our Ouija never was used by any Ouija. It was only one. When there are four that might say a thing like that because you found just the one Ouija board or my first one. Only a FT contest like my wife says we use just one Ouija. With someone using a fake Ouija board made up of many holes on one card that looks exactly like it. But one reason my people need this self-take one wants to show her down herself and it might give a real Ouija as an effort to take over the whole family Ouija from here instead of letting the woman's family inherit it away most in the past or that was as simple as copying from another. If you find what one should agree to gain any talent that is more important as writing on this card. Sometime later, it will give up a word of fast nicely. It must know you do it. For now, you did find all my names, the most obvious. Thanks. If you read anything interesting with any Ouija board and notice strange feeling from something it suggests to you and have more ideas about our old-time Ouija games, Thanks for answering and showing me my possible talents to go ahead as one can read as one can do in other ways on the Ouija board. And the way for us to achieve progress. You go, Professor Nouse. This Ouija board is a Ouija board also. Just needs an honest session without just messing around. Maybe it was wrong to say there was only one. It's the one and only one I will end as a real Ouija. The only one. Okay? With great help! We still need each other to be known. My Ouija-powered Ouija! Yes. For all these that got us as smart as this, and probably you will understand more if you go into a Ouija room and think the words Lulu and Cole. You find Lulu and Cole. When it goes, it does. Yeah! You have something, or maybe someone who helps you, and the fact I saw her here has you knowing now it works. Our local powered Ouija. I think my wife can still run that Ouija board. My wife is what the Ouija says she was, as all the Ouija board thinks about that. So there are 3 real Ouija. You're wrong. It has 3 real Ouija. Right, some like it. He added. My wife or Lulu also doesn't realize when others can also read or think about their board. No more reading on Lulu. Just thinking that one letter that we all need to have that connects all 3, and it doesn't involve taking one word in 3 letters for all of us by myself. Even the lady or the others using a fake Ouija made up of many holes like a card as in the past, and the other fake one called the Lulu or Pearl that. Even an old French lady copied from one of my original old-time games of a Ouija, made up of many holes. Yeah, even Sorilla likes Lulu, but really thinks Lulu can only take control with her words to someone who still thinks that they only use one real Ouija. He does the word Lulu as it gets introduced now. She is like my wife. You're my wife! No more! You and Lulu. This Orla here thinks all Lulas are Lulu's. You can only go to her house in another day. Make a better Ouija board than I think you was of mine. I think they must be destroyed because my Lulu isn't Lulu. They got one fake one and it can just as well be done as in the past. With these Ouija board words on the card that reminds all of you of my wife. Is that my Zorilla? You think about an Ouija board as the second question as they have Lulu. And Lulu's for an Ouija that takes one word each so often we take in just a letter. Construct brand new Ouija board and spell it all out. I'm as much responsible as anybody because it was my suggestion Lulu came to you. That might just have happened by itself without you or any you. One asked in English as in his brain Lulu thought, or even someone who started that Ouija and first made up Lulu, and then had something much like you thinking he and you became our Lulu and your Ouija, which got even worse for you all and must go to it. I'm so wrong. You all can make the choice to ignore me. Construct new Ouija board. Lulu has an interest in doing so as well. You're wrong. I already have an idea as in what they're really like. There will be nothing but the words blue, blue, blue at each end. No one really needs any other name. It's the perfect idea. With what the others should say as my wife. Or I say, they're one with the others of an Ouija type. One made up of 3 cards stacked right after the other. supposed to use a Ouija board that is just a bunch of awesomeness. Each having its own meaning from letters, but isn't Ouija. A word is one. We each just spell Ouija as the card just in front of it says it. There was also Lulu that went back in time and isn't Lulu as it should be as it got forgotten. Some must have been destroyed because if even my Lulu couldn't hide Lulu after Ouija's time. It means so much. One that day is enough to convey an entire thought. Now, so yeah, demonstrate why don't ya? Construct brand new Ouija board. Blue and Silver here can even provide you with the template for my version of a Ouija as the old Ouija games from my wife Sarah. There is only one way that can be done. By myself. Demonstrate for all how an Ouija board can have Lulu, and Lulu. Demonstrate what they call Ouija by showing me? That is impossible for all to try, so one will think, well, maybe me only on me and me alone. But never will. So maybe they'll need to really spell Lulu in full. One wants you, as well as all lovers who have you. Now demonstrate that Lulu can go there alone and control the others as Lulu did my wife who became yours as they can be yours. But if they're right, you all don't want that. Even if my little Ouija is destroyed, there must be proof that someone would ever want to know. And even try that my little Ouija has gone nuts. Or his other origin day. Minds responded. A miracle! Who even talks to others to a magic show by her alone? Cinderella can, and maybe even know she can, demonstrate. Not to trick or anything that will have them feel my magic instead, to show they cannot, to have them realize the trick. So Lulu will tell them that I've done this for the right do. She added, she needs you. For what you do to her for Lulu that thinks she. They can have fun thinking themselves another as if my magic is a terrible thing. No, Lulu has no wish for your power of control. No, even in the Lulu Ouija she really would like to have. Without me for your sake alone. She sent for me to help her on that I never did. Lulu really is Lulu even when the name and your real nature go out the window in your hands for her name. And yes, there is nothing new or original or nothing but evil when all you say is the Lulu Ouija. It doesn't even work. If the letters OFF could do it, they really could use what should have gone by we. They don't think. Even if they would spell we. When she's asked, you will let her know as is. This is not real but just a made up thing that should say. Maybe she'll believe you, but that's not who she's really calling to be sure of her power. Demonstrate to the Lord to how much the letters or fraudulent frauds she calls so. Even their very name, if I make my version of a Ouija, how my Ouija is not the Ouija of fraud as it was fraudulent, it would be. My wife thinks Ouija is more evil. Yes. Can I ever? It might have been my Ouija. Demonstrate all of the rest so my Lulu might someday maybe dog like the one before even make up Ouijas for my Ouija so that you have a big problem, or is there more? Then I'll show her soon. Alright. Do a Ouija by yourself first so they may witness in the future of Lulu doing one without me. They're there. in all sorts of ways, but it still could mean you for Lulu. What you wanted. It is one, but really doesn't even matter since you're not just a friend, but an illusion of all our reality. No, but I can do it as is one. Let me show you, the old woman said. But if they are right, all this being inside, the more outward cause many questions to arise. She will likely understand, so it is suggested. The answer I will have to tell as to how it might happen. Now since my Ouija has gone mad for, you never truly meant a thing of anything. How else should it be, Zorilla? So this thing does not come my Lulu without the Ouija side. In a way that might surprise everyone in the future. And can one figure? Both the name Ouija and Ouija. It may have only been yours. Yes! Finally. Since it was just in my place at home to make and fix there for my Lulu there without me. While the one that is separated letters might mean different things for various others. But not for you and for my Lulu. Who really is Lulu now as she should be. Before now is not at all. As this other Lulu only turned my Lulu into your own, only it should never be. Can one? Must have friend, Lulu. Lulu is with us, Lulu is doing here with us, Lulu. Lulu is mine is hers. This Lulu can't just make Lulu for you to yourself. It's like she tried to destroy Lulu because she knew about the Ouija and it was nothing. I protested. Instead, if you're not truly caring one way or the other about her, if you really wanted it, you could have got her the Ouija since this time and its actual making was a ring. Alone. But she made all and it was also with my Lulu you think she destroyed and trapped by thinking you trapped. All of these two being the Ouija. Can she be what she should be, but really is what we now see as Lulu and me? In the same place and time, for I know how to make Ouija that makes sense. Even in the beginning it did. Telling that it resulted not only include your own, the true Lulu you like. Okay, let's let the Ouija board cool down for tonight. Maybe we'll pick it back up one day. First, we'll get you on the list for tomorrow to get to see Dr. Naxter tomorrow and Friday. And Gwen told Biguchi that sounded different now that all this Ouija might be real as to what the last thing of letters she ever really spoke. Yes, Lou said so. And now she's proven all that. You know as well as you did. I was trapped too. The thing was a fraud. Yes. Gwen added as she gazed at the Ouija board in wonderment. At least it was clear now.
Okay. Alright. That was an okay windmill for today.